Do your knees ache when you climb a flight of stairs? Do your fingers feel stiff and swollen every single morning before you've even had your first cup of coffee? Or maybe your hips have been giving you that deep, nagging pain that just never fully goes away? If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and watch this video until the very end. Because here's something most doctors don't take the time to tell you. What you eat every single day is either slowly destroying your joints or quietly healing them. And after the age of 60, this matters more than ever. Today I'm going to show you the 3 common foods that are silently fueling the inflammation eating away at your joints right now. And then I'm going to give you the 3 powerful foods that can start reversing that damage as early as this week. This isn't about a fad diet. This isn't about cutting out everything you love. This is real, science-backed information that could change the way you feel every single morning. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to remove from your plate and what to add to it. Let's get into it. Now, before we dive in, let me give you a little context on why this topic is so important, specifically for people over 60. As we age, the cartilage in our joints, that smooth, cushioning tissue that protects our bones, naturally begins to thin. Our bodies produce less collagen. Inflammation becomes harder to control. And recovery from even minor physical stress takes much longer than it used to. Here's a number that might surprise you. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, over 58 million adults in the United States live with doctor-diagnosed arthritis, and the risk increases sharply after age 60. But here's the thing, and this is what most people miss. Inflammation is the root cause. And inflammation is heavily influenced by diet. What you eat 3 times a day either turns the inflammation dial up or turns it down. So let's start with the bad news first, because knowing what's hurting you is just as important as knowing what heals you. Let's start with one of the biggest offenders sitting in most people's kitchens: refined sugar. Now, I'm not just talking about candy or desserts. I'm talking about the sugar hiding in your morning cereal, your store-bought yogurt, your fruit juice, your sauces, and yes, your soda. Here's what happens in your body when you consume high amounts of refined sugar. Your body triggers the release of inflammatory messengers called cytokines. These cytokines travel through your bloodstream and cause swelling in your tissues, including the sensitive tissues surrounding your joints. For someone over 60 whose joints are already under stress, this is like pouring gasoline on a fire. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who consumed sugary soda regularly had significantly higher markers of inflammation, including a protein called C-reactive protein, or CRP, which is directly linked to joint pain and arthritis progression. And here's what makes this even more dangerous. Sugar is addictive. The more you eat, the more you crave. It creates a cycle that silently worsens your joint health every single day. The fix? You don't have to go cold turkey overnight. Start by cutting out 1 sugary drink per day. Replace soda with sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or lime. You'd be amazed at how much of a difference that one swap can make. Now this one is going to surprise a few of you, especially those who grew up being told that red meat was the foundation of a strong, healthy body. And look, I'm not saying you can never eat red meat again, but here's what the science says. Red meat and processed meats, things like bacon, hot dogs, deli meat, sausages, and even large portions of beef are extremely high in compounds called purines and molecular saturated fats. Let's break that down. Purines, when broken down by your body, produce uric acid. When uric acid builds up in the bloodstream, it forms sharp, needle-like crystals that deposit in your joints, causing a condition called gout. If you've ever experienced a sudden, intense pain in your big toe or ankle that came out of nowhere, there's a good chance uric acid was involved. Saturated fat, on the other hand, directly fuels systemic inflammation. It activates the same inflammatory pathways in your body as an infection or injury, except this inflammation is chronic. It never fully switches off. Research published in the journal Arthritis and Rheumatism found that high consumption of red and processed meat was associated with increased inflammation markers and worsening arthritis symptoms. The fix? You don't need to eliminate meat entirely. Aim to limit red meat to once or twice per week. When you do eat it, choose leaner cuts like sirloin, and try swapping processed meats for grilled fish or plant-based proteins a few days a week. All right. This third one is the one that catches most people completely off guard. White bread, white pasta, white rice, pastries, crackers, cookies. These foods are made from refined, highly processed flour that has been stripped of its fiber and nutrients, and when you eat them, they behave almost exactly like pure sugar in your body. Here's why that's a problem for your joints. Refined carbs have a very high glycemic index, meaning they cause a rapid spike in your blood sugar. That spike triggers an insulin response, which in turn triggers inflammation throughout the body. This is particularly damaging for joint health because it raises those same C-reactive protein levels we talked about earlier, the inflammation marker directly linked to arthritis and joint deterioration. A large study from Tufts University found that women who consumed the most refined carbohydrates had significantly higher levels of inflammatory markers than those who ate whole, unprocessed grains. And the scary part? These foods are everywhere. They're marketed as convenient, affordable, and even heart-healthy sometimes. But for your joints, they are doing quiet, consistent damage. The fix? Swap your white bread for whole grain or sourdough. Replace white pasta with whole wheat or legume-based pasta. Even just making this one change can measurably reduce inflammation over time. Okay, I want to pause here for just a second. Out of those three joint destroyers, refined sugar, processed meat, and refined carbs, which one do you consume the most? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single comment, and I'd love to know what we're working with here. Now, here comes the part I know you've been waiting for, because knowing what to avoid is only half the battle. The other half, and honestly, the more exciting half, is knowing which foods can actually heal your joints and bring back some of that mobility and comfort you thought was just gone forever. These next three foods are backed by serious science. And the best part? They're not expensive. They're not exotic. You can find them at any grocery store. Let's go. If there is one single food that joint specialists and rheumatologists agree on more than any other, it is fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, anchovies. These fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically two types called EPA and DHA. And these are among the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever studied. Here's what they do inside your body. Omega-3s block the production of inflammatory chemicals called prostaglandins and leukotrienes, the very compounds that cause joint swelling, stiffness, and pain. They essentially walk into the inflammation factory and hit the off switch. A landmark study published in Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases followed patients with rheumatoid arthritis who increased their omega-3 intake. The results? Significant reductions in joint swelling, morning stiffness, and even the number of tender joints within just a few months. Another study found that omega-3 supplementation reduced the need for anti-inflammatory pain medications in arthritis patients. This is not small stuff. This is real, measurable healing. How to eat it. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week, And here's the good news if salmon feels expensive. Canned sardines are one of the most omega-3 rich foods on the planet, and they cost less than $2 a can. Add them to whole grain crackers, toss them in a salad, or mix them into pasta. Start this week. Your joints will thank you within days. If you haven't heard of turmeric yet, welcome, because this golden spice is about to become your new best friend. Turmeric is a bright yellow spice commonly used in Indian and Middle Eastern cooking. Its active compound is called curcumin, and it is one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatory substances in the world. Here's the science in plain English. Curcumin works by blocking a molecule in your body called NF-κB, which is essentially the master switch for inflammation. When NF-κB is activated, inflammation turns on throughout your body, including in your joints. Curcumin walks in and blocks that switch. Here's what makes this truly remarkable. A study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food compared curcumin to ibuprofen in patients with knee osteoarthritis. The results showed that curcumin was equally effective at reducing pain and improving function, without the stomach damage, kidney stress, or cardiovascular risks that come with long-term ibuprofen use. Let me say that again. A natural spice, performing as well as a pharmaceutical painkiller. That is extraordinary. How to eat it. Add turmeric powder to warm milk for a golden latte. Stir it into soups, stews, scrambled eggs, or rice. You can also find curcumin supplements at most health stores. But here is one critical tip you must remember, and most people don't know this. Always pair turmeric with black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which increases the absorption of curcumin in your body by up to 2,000%. Without black pepper, most of the curcumin passes through your system without being absorbed. So, turmeric plus black pepper. Every time. Don't skip this. And our final joint healing powerhouse, and one that is sadly underestimated by most people, is dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, broccoli, collard greens, Swiss chard. Now I know, some of you just made a face, but hear me out, because what these vegetables do for your joints is nothing short of remarkable. Dark leafy greens are packed with 3 key nutrients that are absolutely critical for joint health. Vitamin K, which plays a key role in maintaining healthy cartilage and bone density. Studies show that low vitamin K levels are directly associated with increased risk of osteoarthritis and joint space narrowing. Antioxidants, including vitamin C and beta-carotene, which neutralize free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that attack and break down your cartilage tissue over time. Antioxidants are your cartilage's bodyguard. Calcium and magnesium, which keep the bones surrounding your joints strong and dense, reducing fracture risk and joint instability. Broccoli in particular deserves a special mention. It contains a compound called sulforaphane, which researchers at the University of East Anglia found may actually slow the destruction of cartilage in joints. A finding that is genuinely exciting for anyone dealing with arthritis. How to eat it. You don't need to eat a giant salad every day, though that certainly wouldn't hurt. A simple daily handful of spinach blended into a morning smoothie is nearly tasteless but incredibly powerful. Or sauté kale in olive oil with garlic as a side dish. Steam broccoli and drizzle it with lemon juice. Find what you enjoy and make it a daily habit. All right, before I wrap up, I want to give you one bonus tip. A little extra something for those of you who stayed all the way through. And this one is something most people completely overlook. Hydration. Your joints are cushioned by a fluid called synovial fluid. This fluid acts like a shock absorber and lubricant, reducing friction between your bones. And guess what synovial fluid is primarily made of? Water. When you're even mildly dehydrated, which many seniors are because the thirst sensation weakens with age, your body produces less synovial fluid. Less fluid means more friction. More friction means more pain, more stiffness, and faster cartilage wear. The recommendation? At least 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. Add lemon or cucumber if plain water feels boring. And here's one powerful combination I want to leave you with. Fatty fish, plus turmeric, plus leafy greens in a single meal. Think, a pan-seared salmon fillet, served over sautéed spinach, seasoned with turmeric and black pepper. That single meal is an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. It hits every major healing pathway we've talked about today. Make that meal twice a week, and within a few months, many people report genuinely noticeable improvements in joint comfort, flexibility, and morning stiffness. Try it. Tell me how it goes. All right, let's do a quick recap, because I want to make sure you walk away from this video with everything you need. The 3 foods destroying your joints. Refined sugar and sugary drinks, processed and red meat, refined carbs, and white flour products. The 3 foods healing your joints. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, turmeric with black pepper, dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli. You don't have to change everything overnight. Start small. Remove 1 harmful food this week. Add 1 healing food this week. Build the habit slowly. And be consistent. Because when it comes to joint health after 60, consistency beats perfection every single time. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 3 healing foods are you going to start adding to your diet first? And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It truly helps this channel reach more seniors who need this information. If you're new here and you want more practical, science-backed health tips specifically for people over 60, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We post every single week, and everything we share is designed with your health and your quality of life in mind. Until next time, take care of your body. It's the only one you've got. I'll see you in the next video.